Okay, I'd like to start a little Google Earth tour here, and you'd think we're in the Middle East, and I'd spelled Iran incorrectly with two A's. Uh, this is not the Middle East. This is Ira and Texas. Um, Population 1,238 in the 2000 census. Ira and Texas is about 1 square mile east to west and north to south. If I zoom out a little bit, though, you'll see its neighbor to the southwest, the Yates oil field. Yates oil field. Uh, this is a NASA image from space. You can see that. I zoom into any of these not so small rectangular pads. Each one of these is the home of an oil well. It's amazing. About 7 miles east to west and 6 miles north to south. So dwarfs little Ira Ann. What I'd like everybody to notice, the bottom right-hand corner of Google Earth, when you're at an eye altitude of about between 15 and 20 miles, you'll see other pads. These appear to be natural gas pads. They could be oil pads. It's some type of fossil fuel development. But as I zoom out again, I can zoom around other parts of Texas. And I'd like to show you some other areas inside Texas, a little north. I want you to realize every white dot here at this elevation is a pad. And if you don't believe me, I'll zoom in and I'll show you them. Every one of them is a pad. Homes don't take up this large a footprint and generally have a darker roof, so they're not going to appear white like this. They're everywhere. I'm not able to make this up. If it's not possible. Download Google Earth and go to Ira Ann, and you can zoom in any of these locations. You'll see every one of these are pads. It's hard to believe it's geographic precision in terms of everywhere you go. Okay, not everywhere in Texas, everywhere here. Some people talk about environmental issues. Personally, I don't see much of an environment. I see complete industry, and though this is good for the economy, it's hard for me to imagine. And I want to point this out because I don't think the majority of our population has any idea about all of this. If I go south of the Yates oil field, there's still more. It continues. Crockett, Texas. Over into the central areas. Sonora. All of these white dots are pads. And I'm not trying to sensationalize anything. I'm just trying to point out some things that the majority of people, including myself, I wasn't aware of this, that there were this many everywhere you go and fly over. It's hard to actually imagine. Even Reagan, Texas, of all places. Reagan, Texas. Here. Every one of these white dots. We'll zoom out a little bit. It's not just West Texas. No. They're everywhere you look. To say that it's more than the houses, I don't see houses. But I'll leave my comments out. I just want you to see everywhere I go. I've not repeated any of the locations yet. Near Odessa, Texas, you'll see the grids everywhere you go. I said too many to count. That's the understatement of the year. Goldsmith, Texas. And again, just to give you an idea, they're pads. These are natural gas, oil, everywhere you go. Okay, so we probably don't want a vacation in Texas. Might be, well, at least certain parts probably. I'm not trying to pick on you, Texas. I'm not. Andrews, Texas. I think you guys are the winners. As I zoom out, it is hard to believe. In any case, we'll continue across. I'd like to move a little east. This is still central. You got Gale, Texas here. We can jump to a more populated area near Fort Worth, Texas. Here's on the way to Fort Worth, there's Sweetwater. There's another little patch south of Fort Worth, Texas here. We've got more. You think, well, this still isn't terribly populated. Come up into the Fort Worth area. There are pads. Okay, well, that's half mile maybe. The water is 180 feet from these people's front door. Nice. And they are everywhere. They really are. I'll spare you. I don't want to sensationalize. I don't want anybody to think that I'm trying to overdo anything here. Near the lakes and around other developments of homes and so forth, townhouses. You can move east toward Louisiana, because I'll tell you what, Louisiana is no slouch either. Not by a long shot. Well, before we go there, I want to show you Dish, Texas. Dish, Texas is a major pipeline junction point. It looks like salt, doesn't it? Unfortunately, it's not. And it's around houses. See, here's a house right there. Give you a scale difference. House, swimming pool. Looks like a nice house too. Right across from and all surrounded by a whole batch of pads. Great, huh? Let's go toward Louisiana, though. I'd like to just share a couple other locations around the country. Don't want to take up too much of your time, but still moving across Texas. Keep in mind, every one of these white dots, or square little rectangles, these are all pads. Don't believe me? Here. Hope you got the idea there. No matter where I go, we're still in Texas, big state, but we're moving over into Louisiana here. Louisiana is no slouch, believe me. Pads everywhere. And again, I don't think the majority of our population has any idea. I've traveled around the country quite a bit. I've seen much of this firsthand. And as ugly as it is from Google Earth in person, it's actually horrifying. As you can well imagine. Well, get it? Okay, bad joke. Sorry. We're still in Louisiana, and we're still looking at a couple pad sites. Yay! Okay, probably enough of Louisiana, although I think you got the picture. With that in mind, we've also got Oklahoma. Good old Oklahoma. It's Tennessee as well. They're everywhere, making a good job throughout the country. Now, different regions, they don't jump out quite as easily as other places. Nonetheless, they're here. Wonderful. Not just Oklahoma. How about North Dakota, the Bakken area? I put some thumbtacks here because it's harder to discern some of these. You can still see them as you zoom in. To see this area has exploded over the past few years. No question. This imagery date is older as well. So not only do we have North Dakota, we got Texas, we got Louisiana, North Dakota, and the next time it rains red-tipped blackbirds down in Beebe, Arkansas, little Beebe, Arkansas. Past couple years, it has unfortunately rained a lot of dead red-tipped blackbirds have fallen out of the sky. And if you go a few miles north of that, the media faulted fireworks. I'm betting it's the toxic impoundment that the birds don't know it's the lake. They probably landed in it. Okay, I don't know that for sure, but the gas fields are only a couple miles north. So, not just Arkansas too. We don't want to leave out our friends in Canada. We don't. Canada's been fracked quite well too. It's amazing. You can zoom in here a little bit and let my Google Earth imagery catch up. You can see the geographic grids again. And again, I'm not making this up. These are pads. They are all over the place. You guessed it. Okay, well, let's come back to the States for a little bit. Well, Canada's got quite a bit of problems too. The tar sands up there, a whole nother issue. We'll do a video on that at some point too. I'd like to take you to Colorado real quick. Beautiful state. The drive through Colorado in any place is just wonderful. Except, again, here. Nice impoundments. These are 650 feet long. Come up through this area, Battlement Mesa, right down a very, very scenic ride. Here's a nice set of impoundments. These are 1,500 feet long. Come up toward Rulison. And again, you'll see the pads everywhere. I think you got the idea. Good old Rifle, Colorado, a beautiful place dotted with pads everywhere. Okay. So we have a good idea of Colorado. How about our friends in Wyoming? Can't leave them out. Wyoming, another fabulous state. Just tremendous. Drive across Wyoming, you'll love it. Other than these. Yes, more pads and impoundments as I go across. It's hard to take all this in. I've been blown away as I've researched and educated myself on the processes of development and each aspect of our fossil fuel development. And one thing that I've noted in particular is the unbelievable rush to develop these areas. And I know why, and I'm going to spare you in this video. I just want you to see objectively all of these pads and impoundments. From what I understand, Pinedale, Wyoming, population density of less than 1 person per square mile, has some problems with their air. Gee, it'd be no wonder with impoundments this size. Come up here. Here's a little Pinedale, Wyoming. Very similar to our friends down in Ira Ann, Texas, where we began. Here, I'll show you one of my favorite impoundments. Good old Wyoming. Okay, it's more than one impoundment, it's quite a few. Doesn't that look delightful? All right, I'll spare you my commentary. We're going to jump to Pennsylvania. That's where I'm from. And I'd like to show you some of the development here. Northeastern Pennsylvania, up in Susquehanna County. I put little thumbtacks on many of these wells, just so you can see them a little bit better, the terrain. They still jump out, though. You can't miss them. They're everywhere. And again, they're pads. So you get an idea when you just look at all of the thumbtacks, how many pads. These are not just wells. On each pad, there are many wells. So here, you've got quite a bit to see. Doesn't it look pretty right along the road? Likely in Dimock, PA. You can see the pipelines too. It is right south. Pipelines coming right down through. It's 62 wells inside a square mile area. A couple square mile area, I'm sorry. The impoundments are as big a concern, if not bigger concern, than the pads themselves. Just the amount of water used. As of this point in time, as of, I should say, December 2012, it was 1 billion, almost 1.5 billion gallons of water had been used. And the central Pennsylvania area. Nice sets of impoundments, huh? Pads everywhere. Not quite as bad as Texas yet. Don't worry, we've got time. It's only just getting started. Although they're well on their way. These different areas throughout Pennsylvania. I love it. Another lovely set of impoundments. I just want to do this so that our public has an idea of the extent to that this is really going on. Because if it's not around you yet, it likely is, and you might not even realize it. More and more pads. I think one of the saddest things that I've come to realize here is this little set of stuff. You see all these little grids, these spider webs? These are in our Allegheny National Forest. It used to be Allegheny National Forest. It is now the Allegheny National Drill Field. See, Allegheny National Forest. It's particularly attractive where they've deforested. I've driven through it. I've got some videos. They go on. These are the nodding donkey style pads. We move over toward Kane, James City. Nice. Yummy. Allegheny National Forest, huh? Not anymore. Very sad. Okie dokie. I'll try to wind this up because I don't want to take up too much of your time. I've left out our friends in Bradford, and I don't want them to feel left out at all. I mean, they're the #1 producers in the state. Every one of these little spider webs, though, leads to a little well. I'll move down toward the Slippery Rock area. Grove City, Slippery Rock. You begin to see some of the southwestern Pennsylvania development. Evans City area around Meridian, Renfrew, Connoquenessing. Again, all these are pads and impoundments. Beautiful impoundment right behind a farm here on Community Park Road with the pad. Great. See over in the Beaver Falls area. Over into West Virginia. Absolutely. We'll come down to Washington, Pennsylvania. Pretty much tied with or very close to the Susquehanna area in development. And you can see again some of the pipelines. As I zoom in, you'll be able to see that kind of stuff. But each one of these little thumbtacks is a pad. So here, as you see these, pad or impoundment, I should say, because I've tried to highlight each. In fact, I'll show you my favorite Pennsylvania impoundment found to date. This is known as the Worstell Impoundment on Swihart Road. This is 500 feet long, 350 feet wide. That's over 4 football fields in area. And that's not how deep it is. Here's some of the pads. Right around our little farms. We move down toward Westland, Hickory, Pennsylvania. Another lovely impoundment. And many of these are very comparable size, 500 feet long, 300 feet wide roughly. Some aren't quite as large, some are square. This one over here, probably 250 by 250. The amount of water that's being used is unbelievable. Move down toward Greene County. They're no slouch either. They are everywhere. So you understand. And in a couple years, we're going to look just like, or I think it's their hope, that we look just like Texas. Keep that in mind. when you look at the state. I appreciate you taking some of your time to take a look at a little Google Earth, and I would encourage you to download it and take a look at it.